Mike's Daily Podcast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now doing this podcast from a completely different place. I mean, it's cafe anyway, but it's also
Mike's Daily Podcast.
in Podcastro Valentino in a different location. Oh, those awful hackers tried to do something and make us go whackers because they tried to take us down. And they tried to take away my computer that I did this and the stuff that made Mike's Daily Podcast fun. But I found another way to do it.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And here we are with episode 1968, 1968. I was born in that year, 1968. Oi!
Mike's
At the very end.
Daily
In November.
Podcast.
So I guess I am kind of a baby boomer / Gen Xer something. So yeah, here we are at Cafe Anyway. And yes, it might sound a little different because I'm using a different computer with different stuff. I had to rebuild everything, basically. I spent the past hour rebuilding it. This podcast is not an easy thing to do. I do it all myself. And I try to do it in such a way that I can introduce to you the live element of a live brain talking to you, but at the same time bring you the fact that we are at a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valentino. And to do all that, and to be displaced because someone does not know how to do other rooms. There are people, okay, let me try and explain something to you. I'm always amazed in radio, the people that cannot adapt. In entertainment, you have to be able to adapt. The people that can, I call geniuses. For example, Katie Lang, when I saw her back in 2007 at the Santa Barbara Bowl, there were awful fires going on that year. It's Katie Lang and the guy with the hair, Lyle Lovett.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's not a picture of Lyle Lovett, but it is a picture of a beautiful sunset from a year ago. Looking at, I've been doing a lot of nice sunset pictures lately. You can see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Ooh, and my lovely lady friend had got me a new phone for the new year, 2020. And I have a new phone number, but you can still call me at 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast is going to try to be for the next couple of days anyway. But this podcast picture was taken. Basil was there too, actually. That's right, Basil. Yes, it was over there at San Leandro. Yeah, San Leandro, Basil. With the wonderful, what do you call it? The marina. And so, yes, you can see that picture from a year ago, MikesDailyPodcast.com. All right, so Katie Lang is performing. Yeah, constant craving. Oh, and Neil Peart died. That has nothing to do with Katie Lang, except they both do music. And they're both Canadian. But I will discuss him in a moment. But first, let me say that, so because there were fires in the mountains, Santa Barbara is surrounded by these very tall mountains. I forget what they're called. But the mountains there. And there was this awful fire. And ash is falling down from the sky, and suddenly the power goes out during the concert. And Santa Barbara Bowl is an outdoor arena type thing. You can kind of see the ocean a little bit. Parking is atrocious. And the power goes out, and Katie Lang steps up to the very front of the stage, as close as she can get to the audience. And she starts to sing a cappella without a microphone. And everybody's like, shut up! Katie's singing! Which, by the way, she just recently did an album with Nico Case, and I forget the other gal, Laura Veers. Well, I guess that was a year ago they came out with that album, but it's awesome. If you want to hear some cool folk country type stuff, for original works, they did a great collaboration. Okay, now to other Canadians. So that's what I'm saying, is she could adapt. And yet there are so many people I meet in radio that can't adapt. And radio is so easy. It's just this microphone. But the little things. Excuse me, Matthew's Chino break. Much better. One little thing goes wrong and they freak out and they can't adapt. Oh, I see it all the time. I fired off an email this week because a lady who's done a long time show with one of the stations I work for complained like crazy because we had to put her in another studio. She could still record her show, but she flipped out because she didn't like, I don't like the studio. I don't like this. She just came in with this negativity, and she's supposed to be this positive, do this positive kind of earthy show. And she just came in all negative and blamed me. And then she sends an email to her rep at the station, who then sends an email to like 50 other people, including me. And then the general manager replies to me, replying all like, what happened? And I go, let me tell you what happened. Miss I Can't Adapt walks in with her ball of negativity. I can't work in this room. It's the exact same room. Exact same room, but a different room. But with all the same equipment, everything works exactly the same. I don't like this room. You don't have, I'm sorry, you gotta, if you want to be on the radio, if you want to be in the radio biz, you got to be able to adapt. That's all I'm saying. Okay, Neil Peart passed away. He was, I think, 67, brain cancer. Go please watch what is it? Along the Lighted Stage or something like that it was that documentary on Rush that came out a couple of years ago. Fantastic. And Neil Peart, you get to actually hear him talk. What a voice that guy had. He had this deep, robust voice. Oh, and he just talked like this constantly. And an amazing drummer, of course, an amazing drummer. And no, he never played the drums in a cage and drummed upside down or backwards or whatever. Rob Black, the guy who does the financial report on Cron TV and also on a radio station, KDOW, and yes, I produced his show for like 3 years. He says that, and I'm always correcting him. No, Rob, he never did that. You're thinking of the guy from Motley Crue. Neil Peart always sat down, level, like a normal human being, but drummed like nobody else. And my ex-wife was not a fan of Rush. She only liked one song because her dad liked it. And, she liked anything that was classic rock because it reminded her of her dad. But Rush, because Rush is classic rock stuff like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, Spirit in the Radio, and then the Spirit of the Radio. I always mix that up. There was Police had Spirits in the Material World and Spirit of the Radio. So there was a time when the way Alex Lifeson was hitting the guitar chords, it sounded a lot like Andy Summers from the Police. And so some people confused the Police with Rush, because Sting for a while sang really high. Geddy Lee always sang high in Rush. So I play for my lovely lady friend last night, Rush, thinking, all women hate Rush. It's just a fact. And there are women listening to this right now going, no, I kind of like them. But yeah, so I play her Tom Sawyer, and she's like, yeah, that's pretty good. And Tom Sawyer, it gets played a lot, and it's a memorable song. It's a remarkable song in that it had the amazing drumming from Neil Peart. You can just hear what the guy does. He's keeping this crazy beat. I don't know what you'd call it, beat. I'm not a drummer, but I know he's just doing some amazing fills, and the drums don't sound the same from second to second. It's so organic, so amazing. And on top of all of this is Geddy Lee playing the keyboards, and they were using the synthesizers back then. This decaying, crunchy, crazy Moog. And then check out the part where you're hearing the bass playing the exact same line as the keyboard. Why? Because Geddy Lee was the bassist too. And then the guitar playing from Alex Lifeson, which I remembered. I was recalling with my friend Mike last night via text. We were talking all about Neil Peart and about the concert we saw together. We saw him at the also gone, the Irvine Meadows Amphitheater. I think it's condos now. Irvine Meadows Amphitheater originally was Lion Country Safari, and then it became a concert venue. I think that's how it went. Anyway, I saw Rush there, not too far away from the stage, sat right in front of Alex Lifeson, got to see him play guitar, got to see him sweat. Okay, so the guys, if you watch the documentary, Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart had this amazing chemistry. Alex and Geddy knew each other from high school. They meet Neil Peart. They had to replace their first drummer, and Neil Peart comes over, and there's a great story. I forget how it goes exactly, but the audition, Neil Peart was living out of his car, I think, and had all his drums stuffed in his car. Neil Peart also, I believe, lost his wife to some sickness. Both his wife and his daughter died. And he had to deal with that tragedy. And then he had, I think, some kind of bout with cancer early on. He quit the band, goes riding his motorcycle across the U.S. There's a book about that. They talk about that in the documentary. He loved jazz drummers. So if you go, oh, I don't like rock drummers, this one guy I talked to yesterday is like, yeah, rock drummers. He's a rock drummer. Who cares? Rock drummers they're talentless. Jazz drummers, that's where the talent is. No, you don't know. You don't know unless you listen, dude. So I'm playing my lovely lady friend yesterday, Rush's stuff. 2112 is supposed to be their magnum opus. Their early stuff is beyond compare. But I fell in love with the synthesizer Rush. I am like Trent Reznor, who loved the synthesizer Rush. I'm one of the few Rush fans that loved the mid-'80s, late 80s Rush. Actually, all 80s Rush. But the late 80s, they really got their synthesizer on, and were using with sequencing. They're using all kinds of crap that most people that love classic rock hate. But I played it for my lovely lady friend, and the lyrics, and Neil Peart was all about positivity. The dude was just writing about all kinds of positive things, and the cool synthesizers that Geddy Lee was using, like he was stealing ideas from Pet Shop Boys at this point, like these full-on chorus chords. And my lovely lady friend's like, this is amazing. And you got the amazing drumming going on with Neil, still going on in the background, doing all this cool stuff. Time Stands Still with Amy Mann from Till Tuesday, singing on that. And just and then Neil knew when you hit that chorus, because Neil was writing the songs. Neil was writing the lyrics, Geddy and Alex adding the music and the chords, and their chord progressions were crazy, and they would go jump from one key to another, and they were doing such crazy stuff. And Neil, right before that chorus, right before he knew Geddy was going to hit these crazy high notes and hit these big full-on messages, would just do these crazy fills, like da-da-da-da-da. Forget about Phil Collins, who does amazing work with his fills. No longer playing the drums, I don't think. I think he's got, it's sad. All these great 80s drummers. But Neil, probably borrowing from Phil, probably borrowing from Stuart Copeland of the Police, just doing this amazing crap. Oh, I'm going to miss him. So my lovely lady friend loved it. I played her the later Rush stuff. And then when they got into the 90s, they went back to their more rock stuff. They dropped the synthesizer. They went more rock. They go, let's go back to what put us on the map. So I was talking to Marco, who did the Marco Minute for me a couple times in the past, who's a huge rock fan. And he was saying how the last Rush tour wasn't called Farewell or anything. It was called Rush 40, I think is what he said. So it was pretty much considered the last one. And it was a good way to say goodbye. Anyway, goodbye, Neil. Goodbye. I'm always going to, when people go, he wasn't that great of a drummer, I want to kick their butts because you're Neil damn Peart. And you were great. You were an inspiration. All right. And your music was inspiring, too. Okay, so that's all I want to say. But what about inspiring people in your world, huh? What about people that mean a lot to you? Here's someone that's not inspiring. just to change lanes real quick, as we're outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton. I'm walking, I take the BART to Fremont, and I walk to work from the Fremont BART station. And I'm walking over there, and there's a lot of hospitals and medical facilities there. So a lot of nurses get off at that BART station. And I'm walking along, and I hear this lady talking at the top of her lungs, this short woman on her phone in like nurse scrubs, going, I'm taking the bird back. Go to school. I'm taking the bird back. If you don't go to school, I'm taking the bird back. Don't cry. Stop crying. Stop crying. Stop. Just shouting out commands. And I have to walk past her because I'm going this one direction, the same that she is. And I walk past her, and I'm walking as fast as I can to get out of earshot of her. What an uninspiring person that was. That's sad she has to yell at her kid. I don't know her kid. Maybe her kid needed to be yelled at. Was a stubborn idiot. I don't know. But still, it just, the fact that people think they can do that at the top of their lungs and it's not going to affect the rest of us. It's just so uncompassionate, uncaring, uncouth, everything. It's like we got to realize we're putting that out there into the universe. We're talking at the top of our lungs. We're hearing your conversation. Why don't people realize that? It's like so unattentive. You're not there. You're not present in the situation. They don't care. And it shows, that saddens me in any area of the world, especially in the Bay Area, where people are so uncaring and throw trash out and graffiti, and they don't care at the BART station that they're going through the emergency exit and not paying. They don't care. I don't know who told them that they could do that. They live by their own rules and nobody's catching them on it. Anyway, cafe anyway. That's my little complaint section, my little rant section for you today. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Master. It's Madame Rootabega, and I always pay at the BART. Oh, were you a fan of Neil Peart? Yes. Do you hate people that are not positive, that are very negative and throw balls of negativity out there? Yes. Do you hate the fact that I can't think of another question? No. You like that? Okay, because I can't think of another question. I'm a bad interviewer. Look who else is here. Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the acting attendant. And it's Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Mike, we like the new digs here. Yeah, the digs. Do you know that? Oh, I do know that I have to be on a radio station tomorrow. Please listen tomorrow morning from 6 to noon to 92.1 FM in the Contra Costa County area. I'm going to be on from 6 a.m. to noon, as I am every Sunday, just about. If you can't hear it via terrestrial radio stations, you can listen on the internet at kkdv.com. kkdv.com. And now, about my website, here's Ariel. And tomorrow we'll have Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. Or the next show. The next show, we should say, if we can't do a show tomorrow. I'll try and do one, because this is Mike's Daily Podcast, and that's the kind of thing I do. Okay, take it away.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.